Yeah.
Woo! I'm so digging the music is back.
Yes. I
Yes.
I love my editing skills.
Edit master.
I love our new intro. Like
I
for
know
our
that.
video side of it, our video.
Yeah.
Like I love that so much.
Yes. Especially the worm crawling out of the doll's eye. That's so
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, especially like right there with that music, it's like right when that like that heaviness gets into it, like mm,
And here comes the
golden.
gross worm out of your eyeball.
Absolutely. I love it.
So, what are we talking
Welcome
about
back.
today?
We are talking
Yeah.
about something that we all have. We all have this. Some
Is
of you
it
may not.
is it a heart? Because not
I
everybody
mean,
has one of those.
not everyone has that, but also not
Is it a
everyone has a
brain?
soul. There's a bunch.
Sorry.
If I only had a brain.
Do, do, do,
Bunch of
do, do, do,
scarecrows
do,
and
do,
10 men
do,
running
do,
around here.
do. But in
Ah,
fact, alas, that is not what we are talking about. Although that is correct, but not what we're talking
we
about today.
uh we are talking about souls today. We are talking about the differences between a soulmate and a twin flame, and just some theories that I have that revolve around the aspect, and how I don't really much believe, like I don't like the term soulmate. Like I don't really believe much into like that terminology into it. Like I have I have another theory onto it that in my opinion kind of fits a little bit better onto it.
Cool. Well, I found this super duper article that was very enlightening.
Oh,
And so I
super
would
duper.
like to shout out thegolden.secrets.com for their information. And two things. So they have this quote by Elizabeth Gilbert. Um, and the quote is this: People think a soulmate is your perfect fit. And that's what everyone wants. But a true soulmate is a mirror, the person who shows you everything that is holding you back, the person who brings you to your own attention so you can change your life. Which I think is super interesting. And also, this article starts out by saying that soulmates are not the same thing as a twin flame, and that
Nope.
soulmates are actually um, two souls that are linked together, but more of like, and I liked this term. I think I can get down with this. They called it spiritual family. And so it can be anybody. It can be a friend, it can be a child, it can be parent, aunt, uncle. Um, and they are basically there to kind of um, just kind of help you grow spiritually, and you have kind of a deeper connection to them spiritually than just say the normal person on the street. And the way they describe the twin flames is a soulmate on a whole nother level. The twin flame is actually your own soul split in two, and that other half it resides in someone else. So whereas the soulmates are just simply just two separate souls that just really jive well together. And so I thought that was pretty interesting way of describing it, and it made sense that way, because sometimes I feel, for example, I think that you and I and me and your aunt and me and your niece or cousin, right? Cousin,
Yeah.
autumn,
Yeah.
or
I
cousin.
mean,
Yeah, I'm like, wait, where?
she's more or less my little sister.
Right, right. I think that you guys, your pocket of little people there, are my soulmates. You know, you bring out the better in me. Uh, you, it was funny. I had lunch with a friend, and after our podcast the last week, and next day I had lunch, and she said, "Why you just seem so much lighter?" And I was like, cool. Well, lots of things are happening nice for a change, but I also got to talk to my Wyatt. And you don't realize how much that helps your soul until it's, you realize you're acting different, or you feel lighter, or those things. And having not had the chance to interact, the two of us, for so long, I
Yeah, I
think
would
that I
say
felt
that
it more than I thought
our
I would.
our last podcast that we did, I think like in the end it kind of more or less became like a therapy session for both of us. Because like even me, like, I felt lighter after, we did the podcast. Able to, talk, get things off of my chest. And I also, want to thank everybody, because I read all the people that have been posting comments on our YouTube video that we just posted. Thank you guys so much for, supporting us onto it. And also, thank you to the people that have, reached out and, you know, basically, have shown their sympathy and their support in what happened to me. I thank you guys so much for the love and the kindness in there, and the thoughts and the prayers for me to have a fast recovery. But it was a good return episode, and I love it. For us, with everything. But going back on topic here, I do want to point out onto the fact of the matter is like, through like media and everything, like when we say like soulmates and all that stuff, I think like the term soulmate has been romanticized
Mm-hmm.
way too much. And I want to point out into this same point, like, and my standpoint, a soulmate or a twin flame does not have to be a romantic involvement onto it. Like it doesn't have to be like, that you're my soulmate, we're meant to be together forever. And that, because in that standpoint, like it's just, that's just you're basically saying that you're going to be a forever stalker at that point. And that's not fun. It's like, you're
No.
basically, when you tell somebody like, oh, you're my soulmate, like I'll love you into, my next life and all that stuff, you're basically just telling that person that like, I'm going to fucking stalk you. Like this life, next life, any life after that, I'm going to stalk you. And
I mean,
that's weird. That's
there's a few
creepy.
people that I don't consider soulmates, that I definitely would like to have them to have that fear that they'll keep seeing me over and over and over.
That's a different type. That's a whole different energy
That's
level
another.
right there.
Is that another
Yeah,
podcast altogether?
that's like hexing somebody. That's cursing somebody. The fucking like that's some dark magic right there, bud.
but it seems like so much fun. At least to
Oh,
give
I
them
mean,
the thought
definitely,
that
definitely. I
in
mean, you
this
give
life and every other life after it, you're gonna have to deal with.
that's that's a spite mate right there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's Playmate. Yeah. Oh, usually she shows up at the end of the show, but here comes Catbutt already, like
Well,
poking
already
around.
we're starting to show early with this.
What's up, kitty cat?
She's
What's up?
excited to be on camera.
You want to come say hi, Wyatt? She said there's a bug in the window in the office, and I want to know if it's still there. Oh, she's gonna go get in her box, the pet smart box. There she goes.
The
Okay,
pet
she's
smart
she's
box.
getting in her box for now.
She's getting in her box. Right.
And now I can actually, I'm going to turn my camera real quick so that you guys can see what I
So you
mean.
guys can
See,
see our
there she's,
mascot.
there she is over there, getting in a bag that or a bin that she doesn't fit in.
If we ever
Shh,
get down to the point to where we do merch for this podcast, like Luna
cat
is going
butt.
to be the like one of the prime things that we start out with, because she's essentially like our mascot now for this podcast.
She really is.
She
She
is
really
she is
is.
in every single
I
episode.
like, did you see somewhere? I can't remember which one that she commented on, but uh Drew, she put hashtag cat butt somewhere. Which just made me laugh because, yeah, that's really much true. Here we go again. It's Danielle's time to wiggle her
Wear
glasses
your
because
glasses.
I have to
She can't
read
get it right.
these. I can't.
She's not smart enough to get like earbuds.
I know. Apparently not. I need to get some. Can they be a business expense?
Yes. Yes, so if we can actually make some money.
It's a tax write-off at
Yeah, it's
least.
a tax
Business
write-off at
expense.
least. Oh
uh,
shit.
so yeah, I do think it's very romanticized, and I think part of that is really because of the intensity of the relationships, right? And it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be male, male, female, 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 male, like lovey kissy, all that, but it still has such a strong
And then
connection that it
I th-
it brings out that in people,
yeah,
that look of romanticism, even though it's really doesn't have to be.
so and I can understand it because if you're not familiar with like the things that like we do, like we're very in tune with like the spiritual side, like we're very knowledgeable about the aspect. So I can understand like people who are not and they get that connection with somebody, they mistake it for love. Um
Yes, yes, I could
but
see that.
really, it's just that standpoint. But in that sense too, is that and sometimes like soulmates aren't a forever thing. Sometimes they're just there for a season. Um, you
Hmm.
connect with somebody and they may not be in your life forever, and that's okay. But they're there for a season just to help guide you into where you're meant to be, to help you maybe understand something. And this is, in my opinion, something that we kind of map out before, because in my opinion with this, so we're all energy, right? We're all energy, and how we do everything. Fucking Luna in the background, she's like, what are we talking about, guys? What's this? Hi.
Hi, hi.
But so when we die, basically, our energy leaves our body. So, and with energy has a certain frequency to it. Like we all have our own frequency that we, give off, which is a reason why certain music, will help, soothe like our certain moods. Like, there's certain songs that you listen to when you're angry, when you're sad, because those are just things that you connect with on that frequency level. So, I think when we die, like when going through life, it's just we find people that match our frequency. So we're able to connect with them a lot easier. And your frequency will change as your life goes on, as you go on to your next life or anything like that. I don't like the fact that she's not in the camera now.
I
Um,
know, I know. She jumped off. She jumped off
yeah,
the desk, and
yeah,
now
she
she's
jumped up.
trying to get into another cabinet.
Yeah, but I think in a sense is we find people that our frequency matches with. So, as we move on to our next life, like our frequency, can change, in any aspect. But I think you know, if as long as our frequencies still continue, my God, she's a fucking troublemaker.
Hmm.
Um, she's so fucking distracting. Luna, I'm trying to make a fucking point here. Jesus.
Yeah, she is a
Chill.
troublemaker. She won't. Oh,
But
I wonder. I don't know what she's gonna do. You never know what she's gonna do. It's kind of
no, no.
crazy.
It's chaotic. I'm here
Oh,
for it.
look, there
Oh,
she
there she is
goes
up top.
up
Just
top,
stay up there. Lay down.
just hanging
Chill
out.
out. But we find the people that we frequent, like our frequencies vibe with completely, and as we move on through life, our frequencies could match up, and we could meet this person again and continue on. But there's always a chance that the frequency isn't going to match up. Our frequency is constantly changing. So, you may meet somebody in life and you vibe with that person, but your frequency can change, and just down the road, like it could take, be years down the road, it could be a month down the road, but then you don't vibe with that person anymore. And that's, in the sense is basically just letting you know that you vibe with this person, they're meant to be here to just kind of help you along the way. It happened to me recently. I connected with somebody on a very spiritual level, but as time went on, we didn't click anymore. And I had to let that go because it was affecting me on a spiritual level, and it was blocking me from being able to accept like all the good things that were meant to happen to me. It was basically blocking me from being able to have my fresh start, my new beginning. So I cut that person out. And as soon as I did it, it was like a weight lifted off of my shoulder. I didn't have the anxiety anymore of anything about this, or, having to worry about, having a confrontation or anything like that. I just basically said, all right, I'm fucking done with it. This is it. Goodbye. They were in my life for a season. Now they're not.
Mm-hmm.
But they helped guide me. They were there. They did their thing, and just wasn't meant to be. And the thing is that I knew it was going to happen.
Hmm.
Like down the road, like I had a tarot reading, and like it was a very very intense tarot reading that was given to me, and the main thing into it is that this person was only meant to be in my life for a season, and but it could have went either way. But the main consensus is that this person was not going to be in my life for a long term.
Hmm.
And it's exactly what happened. So, I knew exactly what was going to happen. I noticed the signs when it did happen. So I was able to cut off. So, like I said, that's one person that, I considered a soulmate. But it was a soulmate that was only for a short amount of time.
It's interesting that you say that, because as you're saying that, I was thinking, there were times in my past relationship where I never, most of the time actually, I never really felt secure emotionally or spiritually. I always said I was always waiting for the other foot to fall. And I thought it was because of what I had experienced in previous relationships where these patterns continue to happen. And I realize as you're talking that perhaps that's why. Um, because I have yet to find the person who really completes me enough that I feel secure
Yeah.
emotionally and spiritually, right? Um, and the interesting thing about this article too that I thought was right, which Amora has told me, and uh, Tarot Jenny has said when we've talked to her on different things, that really um, you don't you don't get to experience really the full impact of your relationships until you have reached a certain level of love and comfort for yourself. Um, and I thought that was interesting, and because what the impact on you is when that happens is, um, if you a twin flame, and in some cases the soulmates too, they are a mirror of your energy, especially your twin flame. And if you have conflict and self-doubt and all of the negativity within you that you haven't resolved, those things are going to be reflected back to you from your soulmate. Now, generally speaking, it's it should be something that tests you to make you stronger, but sometimes that's not always the case. In which case you would have kind of like this constant battle, because you're, especially with your twin flame, you're almost battling yourself, right? Because you are
Yes.
essentially two halves of the same soul. So the more positivity you have within you and self-assurance, and the more comfortable you are, the more you love yourself, then that's what you project, which is then given right back to you. It's kind of this thing. But to your point too, there are friendships that I no longer am in, and sometimes I mourn them. Certainly I mourn my marriage of that relationship of 17 years. Because when I look back, it was so fulfilling in some way. Um, Both the friendships and the relationship. And then I can see where at some point you just go, like, you're at a
You split.
crossroads.
Yeah, you
You're
split,
at a
and you.
crossroads, and you have to decide, um, if you're being fulfilled in a positive, growing way in this relationship. I think that part of friendships, I think we all get that feeling with people that we connect with, even as friends. Oh boy, can you hear me still, or am I need to stop talking
Yeah,
with my
no,
hands.
no, I can still hear you. You good? You're good.
I need to
Her
start.
vid, her
My
video kind of
video is a little
froze
wonky.
up a little bit,
I
but
was like,
no,
uh-oh.
no, we still had
So,
audio.
um I almost feel like our quest for friendships kind of comes from the fact that we're vibrating on certain frequencies, and it can be helpful because you can be vibrating on frequencies with which you're attracting like-minded vibrating personalities.
Hmm.
But then also, with those of us that are very empathetic, we tend to attract a lot of narcissists, a lot of
Yes,
people who feed on our vibration, who need our vibration to enhance them. They're going to have holes in their energy, so to speak, when they're not sucking it out of someone else.
and which in
Um,
that standpoint is basically a good terminology for those types of people are either two things. They're black holes, or they're um they're vampires. Pretty much, they're basically
yes,
energy
spiritual
vampires.
vampires. Yep.
Yep.
That's
But
exactly right.
I like more along the lines of the terminology of calling them black holes, because they literally suck everything and basically disintegrate it.
Yes. And so you vibrate here for a little while, and they have this attractive vibration, right? Because essentially, um, they're using what was left of the last vibration to attract. It's like just like a moth to a flame, right?
Yep.
They've got just enough left to attract. Then once they have you, that's when the depreciation of your vibration starts going down. And then that's when you feel like, okay, this friendship is not good, or this relationship is not good. Um, and unfortunately, because at one point you were on the same wavelength, you feel that loss, because you feel like you've let go of something, when in fact you've probably gotten all that you could, or you've let them get enough of you and you're done. And so you have to cut it off. And those folks that stay around the longest, I think, are perhaps your soulmate, or you're still working on whether or not your vibrations, as everyone says, especially at my age, I'm a little bit older than you, but I think you're an old soul, so you feel this way
Only
too.
by
A
by hair.
little bit, just a little bit. My circle is small, right? A lot of people say
Yeah.
that, and I feel like a lot of people say that not when they're 20, but after they've lived some years, right? And they've experienced a lot of burns by friendships, and and they've come to places where they're like, this friendship is not working for me. Like, I'm done with this. Relationships, family ships, in some
Family
cases,
ships. Yeah.
in some cases it is your family. In some cases, those spiritual vampires, those black holes, are your family. Um, and they don't vibrate with you anymore, and it's time to walk away, because really there are some of us that are put here to make a difference. One of the last things that the article says is that essentially twin flames, um, they are brought together to create the biggest whole flame that will then work to shine so bright that it creates love and positivity in the sense of trying to transform its surroundings and even the world. I get goosebumps thinking of that. I don't
I do
know
too.
why.
I do
I
too. I
think
get
that that's
goosebumps thinking about it, is because of the fact of the matter is that in my life I know I found my twin flame. Like I know I have that person, and it's a lot of people, like, and like I said, it's not something like that should be romanticized or anything like that, but it's weird because like my twin flame is my son's mother, Bonnie.
but you can say, right, that started out as uh, a romantic,
Yes.
affectionate vibration, right? And maybe that is
Yes.
because you misunderstand. I don't know if we said this on camera earlier or just when we were talking, but you misunderstand the vibration, right? It feels so strongly that you think it's love, you think it's romantic, you think it's gotta be huggy kissy face, as my dad used to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
But
And
so
it
that's how you
is this
started,
was
right?
yeah, this was something that, that was started before, like, her and I both, before her and I both pretty much, got on this spiritual level in that sense. But it's weird because, I always love it because like anytime, like, we come up with a podcast, like our topics for, the week or anything like that, it's like when we do that, it manifests everything into my existence. Because literally, like, we had this topic set after we recorded last week, and then
Do you want to tell them when you talked about when you wanted do you remember when you first
we
said you
talked
wanted to do this?
we talked about this for a while, like ages ago.
But do you
Um,
remember when the what the time was that you were adamant that we needed to discuss it and that you finally had it figured out, or you had a theory on it?
oh, it was before I got into my accident.
It was in the hospital
Oh, it was in the hospital.
when
It
I was
was.
when I
That's right.
was
I was on.
FaceTiming you with Crystal. And
Yeah.
it was like one of the first things you said, I have an idea for a podcast and we definitely need to do it. And it's about soulmates. And I have an idea, I have a theory. So I think that whole thing, not that you guys weren't on a path anyway, but it like all of what happened with all of that just really raised, I think, everybody's vibration up with her. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean,
Oh, definitely.
she
Because she's and she still is. Like, I mean, this woman is a complete all-star. Like, I'm telling you, like when I say, like, I have, and I always have, but I have the utmost respect for this woman. Not only because, she is the mother of my child, but because of the fact of the matter is like she's one of the strongest people I've ever met in my entire life. She has helped me realize a lot of things, but in this sense, it's like, she literally took it upon herself, like, to make sure that she reached out to the closest people to me, to
Mhm.
let them know what happened to me, and there was a time like when I was just like during at home, and I was just at my lowest, and I was talking to her and I broke down. She took it upon herself to reach out to Danielle, to reach out to my aunt, to let them know that I wasn't in a good place, and to reach out to me, and to just put out that love and vibration. But and it is weird, because like we sat there and like came up with this idea, soul resonance, that you resonate with certain people throughout your life. You can carry that resonance with you, into your next life. And literally, this past Friday, after we like confirmed that we were going to be doing this episode today, and I'm, you know, driving with my son's mother, and we were sitting there, we were talking, and we literally got into like a deep conversation with each other. And she literally, we looked at each other, and she's like, you know, she goes, "We're not soulmates." I was like, "No." I don't think we are either. She goes, "But I strongly believe that you and I are twin flames. We complete each other. Like we were always meant to be with each other in some way, some form, to complete each other." Because literally, this woman like understands me better than what I understand myself, and I understand her better than what she'll understand herself, and her moods and all that stuff. Like we can openly talk to each other and just be able to straight up understand it. It's like just past, what was it? It was Monday morning. Monday morning, um, before I left their siblings' house, spent the night up there so that way she could have some time with Damien. And before we left, like, we just sat outside, and she was having a rough go at it. And then she's just venting, just straight up, just letting it all out. And at the end of it, the first thing she said was, "Thank you for not telling me to calm down." Because I was like, I know with her and all that stuff, I was like, one, that's the last thing you want to tell her is to calm down. But it's the thing is because I know I will always validate her emotions when nobody else will. I will always validate it. And that, sense is that I will never tell her what to do, but I will give her my opinion on the situation. And then whether or not, she agrees with it, it's up to her. And I will never get upset if she doesn't agree with my opinion or how my thought process is with the situation. And I don't expect her to. And she's vice versa. Like we have the exact same wavelength. And like you said earlier, is that with a twin flame, sometimes you can feel like you're battling yourself in that sense. Because like when she gets in like certain moods and all that stuff, it does, it feels like I'm battling myself. And the sense of the matter is, it's like, when like I'm trying to get her to release their negativity, or like she's just in a bad mood, it's hard to be able to process how to make, like, to help this person,
Mhm.
to get them. But in that sense, is like, I understand. I was like, when she gets in those certain ways, I'm not meant to put her in a good mood. I'm meant to just kind of sit there and just be like, all right, let it out.
Mhm.
I'm not, she doesn't need me to save her. She doesn't need anybody to save her. And, she understands the same way. I don't need anybody to save me. I can save myself. But it's always nice to have that person there that I know that is going to validate my emotions. I'll validate her emotions. Anything that we're going through, we're there for each other, 100%. And it's not in a romantic way whatsoever. It's just the fact of the matter is that we were always meant, my soul is a part of her soul as well as, hers is mine. When we moved on to this life, we basically, split our souls apart to find each other in the sense. I think we were always meant to be with each other in some way, some form. In this life, it was, to have a kid together. And that's what,
He'll
and
make
I
a
under
little mini flame.
exactly, exactly. And let me tell you what, okay, my son is the spitting image of his mother and me, hands down. Like, I am so proud of just him. For a 4-year old, this kid is definitely spiritually in tuned with everything, and he is definitely, an offspring of our soul completely. And there's the cat butt
Here
coming
comes
into
cat butt.
play. Here comes
I
cat butt.
know. Cat butt.
But
She almost
you know,
needs her own little song.
yep, cat
Like own
butt, cat
intro.
butt,
Cat butt
little Luna
song.
cat butt. But
No.
but recently, like, both Bonnie and I, have been really getting into frequencies, like, the whole frequencies. Like, we listen to, music that hits like certain frequency. Did you literally just walk around the computer, cat? Because you just disappeared on one end and then
Hmm.
came back on the same end.
She did. She walked around behind it.
I can teleport it.
Yeah.
But like, we listen to pretty much frequency music to really just kind of like help us like get into like a meditative state, or help us sleep. And I went to go put my son to bed tonight, and I walk into his room, and he is already, like, I poked my head in, he's already covered himself up, he is dead asleep. And I look over at the TV, and he has soothing frequency music playing, something he picked himself, and he was gone. I was like, I'm like, my kid, like, as far as spiritually in tuned, is like so far advanced than what a 4-year-old should be. And I'm so proud. Like, one, I'm proud of our parenting, the fact that he's understanding the fact that he's going to be able to grow up and do this. And I honestly feel like the fact that his mother and I are so well in tune with like our knowledge with everything. Like, this kid's going to be super sensitive as he grows up, and I think he's going to be just like his mother, and he is just going to be a giant lighthouse. Like, he's going to be a
Mhm.
beacon for a lot of spirits to try to communicate through. And I'm excited for it, because it's the legacy thing.
Mhm.
We're going to be able to pass down that legacy and that understanding for him. And I'm excited to see what type of path he chooses spiritually to follow. If he chooses to embrace it, or if he chooses to block it out completely. But I honestly think that as he grows up, he'll end up embracing the abilities that he has.
Well, and I think it's important when you have kids that have that light, that vibration, when they have parents that understand that and cultivate it instead of trying to snuff it out,
Yeah,
then they become very much more self, secure in themselves and what they can do. And then it works out, for them in a much more positive way. And they don't do what a lot of us have done, which is struggle for a long time trying to figure out, like, well, is what I'm experiencing real? Is it in my head? Is it imagination? We turn off all the things that allow us spirituality because we think it's not right, and that
yeah,
goes for all kinds of people's spirituality, even if you're not um connected in a let's say a paranormal way, for lack of better explanation, just your spirituality, because it's not something that you can see and be like, hey, look, Jesus walked in my door, or you know here's the Buddha hanging out in my backyard, like, you know what I mean. You can't, there isn't a lot of that. It's all belief. It's all uh, how you manifest your thoughts and your universe, right? And it's all different um, for each person. You want to come up on my lap? Well, come on, kitty. Come
because I know it took me about 30 years to really realize that, you know, I was empathic, that, I was an empath, um, like a very strong empath. And, it took me 32 years to really realize, like, really, like, I never understood, like, why I would, suddenly have panic attacks out of nowhere, why my anxiety, would skyrocket and all that stuff. And I realized, finally, like years down the road, that these are emotions weren't mine, that they were other people's. And the reason why,
Mhm.
like, I was getting overwhelmed in large crowds is because I was feeling everybody's emotion, and I didn't know how to guard myself during that time. So I was literally, everything was flooding in at once. There was no filter to it. It was literally everybody's emotions all at once. And like, it broke me for a while. Like,
Mhm.
especially when it came down to, like, when found out that, I was going to be a father, and just a lot of, like, negativity in my life, dealing with a lot of, bullshit and stress. It literally broke me. It broke me down. And like, it got me to the point to where I, ended up having to go to therapy, you know, and be able to process, to be able to cope. And at that time, like, as I started to explore, I started to realize, like, I started reading, like, articles, and like, just things just automatically manifested into my life that kind of guide me and tell me that what you're experiencing is the fact that you're an empath. The fact that, like, all of your emotions and all that stuff, I was like, just randomly, they're not your emotions, they're somebody else's.
Mhm.
And it also helped me realize that, like, I not only do I feel human, emotions, but I also feel spiritual emotions as well. Like, going into a haunted location or anything like that, I can pick up on the energies, all of the energies around me. And again, I got goosebumps. But, able to feel all of those energies around me. And it's great. That the fact of the matter is that, Damien and will have that knowledge well before, you know he becomes 30. He got
Mhm.
his mother, he got, me, and, he got, his, um he got his Nick's, Bonnie sibling, to help guide him with everything. I love it. I love the fact that my kid is going to be a fucking witchy ass kid. And he's going to be the weird kid. I mean, he's going to go to school, he's going to be the weird kid. And but it's not going to bother him. Like,
Right.
I love that fact, because, he's going to go to school, and, all these kids are going to be afraid of ghosts and all that stuff, and he's going to be like, oh well, fucking, I talk to them, they're cool, they're fine, they're
That's right.
chill.
I'll let you know if there's something you need to be afraid of.
Yeah, I'll let you know. He's gonna go over to sleepovers and all that stuff, and he's gonna be like, yeah, you have a ghost. He's
Probably
gonna
want
be.
to let it. You probably want to let him know that he should ask first if they want to know.
No, they're all like, he's gonna be at a sleepover, and like, everybody's saying, he's just gonna be sitting in front of the closet talking to somebody that's not even, like, visible.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's funny. I I do like this point that they made too, which reminds me quite a bit of you and Bonnie. It says that soulmates balance each other's energies. Now, they use this term kind of back and forth, right? Because they do believe that twin flames are soulmates. They just happen to be the same soul is a twin flame.
Yeah,
Um, but they say that you learning perfect harmony together, examples of you are examples of hope and love for humanity, pure unconditional love, and um, that is kind of the quest of your soul is to have those things, but we spend a lot of time kind of doing the opposite. And it may be because we're not familiar with how to kind of dissect those relationships and know what is good vibrations versus bad, the black holes, how we how we misinterpret sometimes the relationships and things that we find ourselves in with people, where one may think it's, you know, more than it is,
Yeah.
creating that kind of discord between two people when they're not on the same page. Um, but I think it's great that you guys and people in general find their people. And it is a give and take thing, right? It's not just one person is someone's person and the other one is not fulfilled by the same
Oh, absolutely.
relationship. You know,
It
it
is.
is just a
It's an
ebb and flow.
equal.
You're kind of going
Yeah,
along
it's
together that ride.
equal. It's an equal exchange of energy, and it's one of the reasons why, like, a lot of people, like, they look at us and all that stuff, and they get like super impressed and all that stuff, because we, because of this, like, we set co-parenting to another level.
Well, yeah,
You
you're an
know,
anomaly, really. Not that many people uh, would agree to do the things that you do for the well-being of each other
yeah,
and your family, right? So, um,
I
most
mean,
people are too selfish
yeah.
to do that, and
I
so
mean,
you,
it's literally, it's like, because, like, I can pick up on everything. I think, like, the best example of it is, and I think you've really commended me for this as well. Because I think I texted you about this, but I remember Bonnie just asked me for $20 in quarters so she could do laundry. Um, and, like, I knew, like, during that time, like, she was super stressed out and everything. Um, so I ended up giving her $40 in quarters for laundry, and then on top of it, going to Walmart, buying, like, a crack ton of diapers and wipes for Damien, getting popcorn and a bunch of other stuff, and getting a, couple of movies for them, just so that way she could have a night completely, stress free with the kids, and they could have something to just have a little movie night together to really just kind of, chill out and relax, and just, not worry about anything just for a little bit. And this isn't something that, Bonnie asked for. Bonnie doesn't ask me for anything unless she really needs it. But I can pick up on, the things that, she needs, that she's not going to ask me for, because she'll find a way. She always finds a way to be able to get things. But, I know the emotionally the things that she needs onto it, and then on top of it, she's the same way with me. I mean, you know my last relationship that I had, unfortunately, did not end very well. But this is literally, I texted her that night about it, and she's like, dude, she goes, if you want to come over and talk about it, come over and talk about it. And
hmm
I went over there like at 11 o'clock at night, and we sat there for about 3 to 4 hours, and she just let me talk and just let me vent and everything onto it. And if it wasn't for her, like, she completely grounded me completely. Like, if it wasn't for her in that standpoint, to know what I needed during that time, and just to be that support for me, like, I would have broke down completely. I would have became very bitter very
hmm
fast. And, she helped ground me down, and to the point to where, like, at the end of it is I wasn't even mad about what happened. I was more or less disappointed on how it happened than I
hmm
was about anything else. And so I was able to move on, and rather quickly, and just kind of live my life and realize that, okay, I was like, just that wasn't meant to be. That's fine. Carry on. I was like, I'll just focus on, what's around me right now.
Yep. It's hard to do. It really is. I think, for me, um, my whole process lately has really been more about um, me being that person, me being my person. Yes,
Yeah.
I do need my people very much. That what I miss very much that I don't have the people that would call and say come over, and I can be there in 20 minutes. Now when they say call come over, it's 5 hours.
Yeah.
So I do feel very robbed of that during this time, but it did force me to be my own person. um and a lot of people have said to me that if I were in your situation, oh, I couldn't have handled it. And if I were in your situation, I would have done all these things, and I couldn't have handled it with the grace that you have had, and putting your kids first, and not, completely going down into some hole of despair, and just a lot of very positive feedback. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm just doing it to survive. I don't think I'm anybody worth winning an award or anything for the way I've lived the past year, but I had certain goals in mind for how I wanted this to end. I had peace of mind for my kids that they could get through it peacefully, and some of that had me eating a lot of crow because I did not want to be the bigger person. I didn't want to be the high road and the grace. And I wanted to be my angry, teenage self that would have completely demolished and destroyed everything that I could get my hands on,
Yeah, you would
literally
have
and
been the Carrie. You
figuratively.
would have been the Carrie Underwood song.
Yes, absolutely. With a little bit of Carrie from Stephen King, Stephen King's Carrie, it's just I had to be my person, and I won't, and I'm not saying that there weren't people that helped. Actually, my aunt Heidi, I sing her praises awful lot. We've had some moments where we disagreed about things, but she really helped me a lot. Uh, Constant, like, not really poking, but just how's it going? What's you got to update for this week? Or she just kind of kept in touch, and just let me know that she was always there. And really, I would say she's the closest to my grandmother, her mom, in terms of personality. And um my grandma was a very, for me, very unconditionally loving person, and I think that my aunt Heidi is very much like that. There's no, I will only give you my love if you meet these criteria, or oh, you screwed up something in your own life that has no impact on me, but I'm gonna be fussy at you for it. Or
Yeah.
you know th- and I think that's why I think that I love that this particular article suggests that your soulmates aren't just a lover. That's it's about somebody that matches your spirituality, and brings you acceptance, and you do it for each other. And I think that my aunt is on her own little spiritual journey. She's learning a lot of things about herself, and what she wants out of her life, and she's definitely increasing her vibration, I would say. And I think that uh we help each other through those things, especially when my grandma passed away. um That was a real tough time for her. And so yeah, so I don't think it needs. I think it doesn't need to be one person, and I don't think it needs to be romantic, as you said. I think that when you have your certain souls that resonate with your own, and like I've had a few now that have been with me for over 20 years, so
You
I think
you
they're
in the
winning.
sense, yeah, in the sense is like I think like the new like thing that's been going around is basically like you find your vibe tribe.
Yes,
And
and
that's
that's
the
really what
same
it
as your
is.
soulmate. It's the same as your soulmates. It's like when you find that person that you vibe with, that is just there for you, that appreciates you for you, doesn't try to change you, accepts you for you and all of your weirdness and all of your glory, and you just vibe with it. That person is a soulmate. That person is
Yes,
meant to be in your life to help build you, to help make you realize, to accept you for who you are, so that way you can accept yourself for who you are.
right. They say, and this article is really interesting in that perspective too. That they say that like usually you come to your soulmate, to your twin flame, very whole, or not very whole, but self-assured and put together and self-love, and then it says sometimes there's the ones that bring it out of you. They show you what you can be. And I think that more people. I keep thinking in my head, it's funny, we've been like off of all of our social media stuff for a good amount of time, me
I've been
myself,
off of my social
basically a
media for
year.
like probably about like 2 years now.
And it's the same. People are still out there trying to tear each other down, pointing out everyone's flaws. You know, I I just keep saying this universe is huge. We all bring something different to the table, even if we're bringing it to the same table and the same subject. We all have different personalities, we all have different perspectives, and we all like different things. There's enough room for us all to entertain people, for us all to share what we can. I know time is limited, and maybe that's part of what freaks people out and makes them nasty, but what you don't realize is if you just sit back and relax and let the universe do what it needs to do, and you put out so much positivity, then you just get that back. And will it happen overnight? No. But if you keep
Pretty much.
continuing to look at life as an inconvenience, and the things, poor pitiful you, because you don't have your soulmate, or you don't have this, or you don't have that, you know it what you put out is just exactly what you're getting back.
Yeah.
So just know that if you haven't found your person, they're waiting for you to love yourself and your situation and be happy where you are and content. I mean, i am I struggle all the time with where my situation is right now at the moment. And I just keep telling myself that there's a reason. Some people don't like that. Everything happens for a reason.
That
And I
has
know there's
always
probably
been my biggest thing. That has always
there,
been my biggest thing that I've always told people is that you should never dwell on the past. Is that everything happens for the reason. The universe has its plan. And I also want to point out real quick here is that the universe will provide for you. um what you put out onto it, if you're putting out the positivity, the universe will give it back to you. But I will say this is, don't expect the universe to do a grand gesture for you. Sometimes it is the smallest things that will
right,
have the biggest impact that the universe gives to you. And case in point with that is that like, you know, this past couple of days have been stressful for me. Like, I've been trying to get a bunch of stuff together, but granted, I've been putting that positivity out there and manifesting the thing. And what I ended up getting back was, a lot of people wouldn't say is like the greatest gift in the world. But to me, it was, because it was so small, but it was so things. And that was just a good night's sleep. And because like with my leg, everything, it's hard for me to sleep. I get uncomfortable into it. But literally Sunday night, I went up to Bonnie's siblings' house, all that stuff, and I had the best sleep of my, for a while. Like, I dozed off, on my own, and basically just slept throughout the entire night, didn't wake up once, as compared to the past couple nights is that I'm up and down all night. Like, it takes me about an hour or two just to get to sleep. It was such a small gift, but it is a gift that I appreciate it so much from the universe, because it gave me exactly what I needed. And and that's what you need to learn to appreciate. It's not going to, the universe is never going to give you what you want.
Hmm.
It's going to give you what you need.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes you don't even know what that is.
Nope.
I'll be honest.
Nope. And it's a big thing. It's the universe is a parent and we are its child. Because as a kid, is that we never understood, like, there's certain things, like, why we couldn't have this or do that. It's because, like, and we even tell, like, Bonnie and I tell her two kids and all that stuff, it's not about what you want. Like, you may not like what we're saying or the decision that we made, but it's not about what you want to happen. It's, we know what you need. We know what needs
Hmm.
to happen for you. So as what we are providing for you, not what you want, but what you need right now.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that's the misconception sometimes that people have, about praying to whoever you pray to, and asking the universe for things. It's not always about, oh, you ask, it's not, they're not genies.
No,
You rub a lamp and wish for something and boom, there it is. I mean, it generally doesn't happen that way.
no,
And
because
you
it's,
need
at that
to
point
put
you're
out.
basically treating the universe like you're playing the lottery. Like, like,
Right.
oh, maybe I'll get pulled and I'll win that, $1 million. That's not it.
And you know what I've found is that you need to be thankful. When you recognize that something great has happened, even the smallest of things, stop and be grateful. Stop and say thank you to whoever, universe, God, Allah, whoever you when you ask for something that you desperately need and you get something in return eventually down the road, maybe you didn't even ask for it, stop and say thank you. I saw a sign at a church one day that said, "Don't just pray when you need something." And I know that's what a lot of us do. When we get desperate, we call out for the help of those that have the biggest impact on us. But
Yeah,
remember that, to be thankful, and then even if you're not the best at remembering to pray when you don't need something, or be thankful when you don't need something, go out and give it to someone else. Go out and share a smile. Go out and use the good thing that you got to help someone else, even if it is a
absolutely.
smile. you know go make a difference, because that
let
is a smile on the universe too.
let me tell you, like, how much that resonates with me is, like, just those acts of kindness into it. And because when you're kind to others, people are going to be kind to you. Today I went up to the sheets to get me a monster. And when I walked in, like, a guy, one of the workers was coming out for his smoke break. But you know what he ended up doing is he saw me coming up with the crutches. He opened the door for me, and as I went back, I didn't notice that he followed me back, and, like, he's like, hey, he's like, you finding everything okay? I was like, yeah. I was like, I got this. And he goes, hey, he's like, do you want some help with that? He's like, because I know it's hard to maneuver around. He's like, I can, help it. I can carry this stuff up to the counter for it. This dude literally because I, took advantage of it, and I was just going to get one drink, but like I, was able to get four, something I couldn't do in the thing, so I didn't have to go back, in the morning. But this dude took the time out to see somebody who was having trouble and went the extra mile for me and carried my, monster cans up to the fucking register for me. And when he checked me out, he went out from behind the counter, made sure that he opened up the doors for me so I could leave. This dude went above and beyond for me, and that was the act of kindness, because I make sure that anytime that I go out, like, I'm kind to everybody. And that was the universe providing back for me, is that individual came and gave me that act of kindness back. And it's a fantastic feeling. It made my day completely. And Luna, um but and another thing is, like, as far as like appreciating the small things, that Monday morning, like when I woke up and like I was having my morning cigarette and I was sitting on the front porch, and a hummingbird came right up to me, and it was fantastic. Did Luna kill your video feed and your audio? Danielle is gone. Danielle, Danielle, Danielle. Please hold while we have technical issues. Are the technical issues completed now?
I think so. You look like you fell over.
I just
Yes, I don't know what happened. It went blip, 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 and then it went out.
it's like it happened like right after like Luna jumped up on the table, and I was like shit. I was like, what the fuck did Luna hit?
She said, I didn't do nothing. I don't know. It was, maybe it's her energy.
Maybe.
She's like, get off there already. So you were
Yep.
talking about your monster thing, and so he came, what? So what? I didn't even get to hear the end of the monster thing. So he followed you back.
Yeah, so he followed me out, so that way he could open up the door for me, so that way, I didn't have to fight the door. But it was that random act of kindness, that it was basically the universe providing for what I needed at that moment. you know
Mhm.
I provide, my positivity on my end as I go out into the world. I make sure that, I spread kindness, and that was the universe, manifesting itself and coming back to me and giving me the kindness in return, to have that gentleman just go that extra mile for me, so that way I didn't have to wake up in the morning and get my son together to go back out to the store. But it was fantastic, and you appreciate the small things, and the universe will always give you a sign. It's like, that night, Sunday night, when I had the best sleep, that I've had in a while. That morning that I woke up, literally, sitting on the other front porch smoking a cigarette, and a hummingbird comes right up to me. And you take that as a sign, like the universe is just giving you that sign that, like, hey, there you go, buddy, you're
Mhm.
welcome.
Yep. I see the dragonflies around a lot this past summer, and I think that's, a sign of a lot of different things. There's a lot going on earlier in the year, and just the summer started off uh difficult, but moved in a direction of peace, and closure and new beginnings. So, ow! She's attacking me.
Because she's ready for
Why?
bed.
She is.
She
She's like,
she knows
what?
exactly like our cutoff point too. Like she knows exactly, because she shows up like right at there at the hour mark. Um,
Hmm.
for it. Like, I don't like how smart she is.
Yeah, it's crazy. And now
It is
she's
crazy.
she's laying on my arm, with her
She's gonna start
paws,
biting you.
her paws on my hand. And she's like, "It's bedtime, mother."
It is bedtime indeed.
Can you see her?
So I can,
She's so silly. She's like,
but
"Oh, there's a kid making a noise too."
if you guys take anything from this podcast, it's basically just to know that you you can have more than one soulmate. It's okay not to romanticize a soulmate. Your soulmate can be anybody, and if you haven't found your twin flame right now, you'll find them eventually. You'll find that
Hmm.
person that basically makes your flame whole. I'm very lucky in the fact that I was able to find mine so early in my life to where I'm excited to see you know together where we move forward and what we're able to teach our kids and move them forward to basically become our legacy.
That's right. Little vessels of positivity.
Little vessels of positivity. Remember, hurt people. You
Yes,
know,
don't be one.
when you're hurt, make sure you express your feelings. Don't
Lash
say
out.
things you're gonna regret, and be careful what you say, because the universe is listening. Don't lash out when things don't go your way, because it could just be a stepping stone for you.
Hmm. Just,
Everything will happen for a reason.
yep, that's right.
And just always remember, if I can get hit by a car and stay positive, what's your excuse?
Exactly. Exactly right. So put that in your pocket. Think about that next time you're getting angry over something small, or even something big.
Yeah,
How can you make it positive? That's what I keep trying to tell myself. And it's not about what's done to you, it's about what you do with what's done
yep.
around you. And you can dwell on it, make it a bad thing, or you can turn it into positivity. You can find a
Exactly.
way.
But also understand is that it is okay to voice your frustrations.
Hmm.
Make if you're angry, you're frustrated, you're overwhelmed, express your emotions, let them out. The more you let it bottle up, the more it's going to overflow, and you're going to end up doing something you regret. So when you feel an emotion, speak your emotion, let
Hmm.
it out. Find an ear that's going to listen to you. Find somebody that's going to validate your emotions and your feelings, and that's not going to shut you down. And I will tell you this right now: is if you come to somebody and you are trying to express your feelings, and you may come off like a little manic or anything like that, and this person tells you to calm down, don't talk to that person. That's toxic. Nobody should ever tell you to calm down. That's invalidating your emotions, your feelings, because at that standpoint, what's happening is that that person just does not want to. It's not there for you. They're telling you to calm down so that way they don't have to deal with the situation.
Hmm.
But somebody that's truly going to support you and love you is going to sit there and listen to you. They're going to validate your feelings. They're going to sit there, they're going to listen, they're going to tell you, like, you know what, you're absolutely right, you have every right to feel this way.
Hmm. That's right. Find at least good people. They will help you. They will help you internalize things in a better way instead of always looking at it and negative. To yourself negative.
Yeah, but we'll leave you guys on that note, and always remember, you guys can listen to us on Spotify, Apple, anywhere where you stream your podcasts. Make sure that you rate and review us. It definitely helps us, in the long run, to be able to show up more for people. And remember, the video version of this podcast will be airing on Friday on our YouTube channel. Um, Link will be in the description for you guys to head over there and, be able to see our faces, see the video version of it, see the mascot in action,
Right?
um,
Cat butt.
in all of her glory there. And then also, we have the Paranormal Hour airing on Wednesday, which actually will be airing basically the day well basically today, because by the time that this podcast airs it'll be on Wednesday. um so we have the Paranormal Hour every Wednesday
8
this week,
p.m.
8 p.m.
Eastern.
Eastern time.
Hmm.
So we have a special guest coming on this week, Melissa Bryan, the Outlaw Psychic. So we're super excited to have her coming on, and definitely, and I'll be there. So you guys will be able to see me on the live show.
Woohoo!
Again, I will be with Amora Witch, and we will be interviewing Miss Melissa, and it's going to be fantastic.
Absolutely. And Kathy, too, I think, will be on. Is that right this
I
time?
think Kathy will be on. Hopefully, Kathy will be on.
Yes. So come check out our witchy friends and their friends and Wyatt
And
and
me.
doing their thing. And I'll probably be in the chat.
You better be in the chat
So I can, keep everybody in check.
so you can make sure I'm in check.
That's right. That's right.
Babysit me. It's babysitting me.
That's right. And you guys stay true to yourselves, be kind to yourselves, and don't let anybody take your light away.
No, spread love, not hate. And remember, we love you. We respect you. And if somebody hasn't told you already, we're proud of you.
Hmm. You made it through the day. You're awesome.
Fantastic.
You're still here. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and we really appreciate all the love that you give us and the encouragement to keep going. And yeah, so thanks for joining, and we'll continue this crazy ride for as long as you guys want to stay on it.
I mean, I don't care if you guys jump off of it. We're still going to continue this crazy ride.
That's true. That's true.
You can pick it if you want to jump back on. You can head up to the next station. We'll meet you there.
Absolutely.
All right. You got our bell? You got our ring out bell?
Hold on, let me get it. I gotta hold the cat is on my lap.
Yeah.
And we are